John Cena's 20-year WWE career has cemented him as one of the most iconic wrestlers of his generation. Many consider him to be one of the all-time greats because of his impact inside and outside the ring. Cena's evolved from a nobody rookie to a rapper to a soldier to the face that runs the place. Through that time, there's few that compare to his 2007 and 2015 runs. You can say 2010 was a year he did well as an overall wrestler, and of course 2013, but those 2 years of 2007 and 2015 most definitely clear all the others in terms of overall package. Because you can say Cena was a better character in 2006 or a better promo in the latter years of his career. Well, what sets those 2 years apart is that you felt like the man was on top of his game all around. It was like he caught a hot streak and was desperate to milk it until the very end, and in 2007's case, an injury halted what was an incredible title reign. Ironically, nobody beat Cena, so he had to beat himself to lose the title. The point of this video is to talk about which year is better for the face that runs the place. We look at character, promo, charisma, and of course in-ring, and of course it's my opinion. Alright, right now, let's get into it. Character. John Cena's character throughout the years has remained largely the same, especially towards the late 2000s. He had slowly phased out his rapper character in favor of a family-friendly superhero who would never give up. 2007 was around the time where he became the Marine, and WWE never outright said it, but I remember believing this man was actually a soldier of the US military. He's wearing camouflage, doing the salute, the head itself, and Cena's morals were of a traditional good guy. He lacked that edge he had previously, and it would show when he would feud with somebody like HBK that would do almost anything to get a slight advantage. Of course, when it got personal with the likes of the great Khali and Umaga, things happened, but as I said, he was a regular good guy. As PG as John Cena was at the time, and he was, it's nothing compared to the coming years. 2015 Cena is a bit different. He had loads of experience under his belt and was much more wise with what he was saying. I like this version of Cena because he felt more real. It wasn't perfect as a character, you know, an ultra good guy, unlike the other versions of Cena, who was portrayed as a perfect person. Heels such as Seth Rollins like to call him out and paint him as a villain, and this was going on ever since the CM Punk feud, but it increased as the years went by. Cena was no longer the underdog. He enjoyed being the guy to beat at this point, and that in itself is a huge difference between the Super Cena and 2015 Cena. It doesn't seem like a huge difference at face value, but when you look deep into it, it's a different story. So for this one, I'm going to go with 2015 Cena. The reason why is because post-Super Cena felt more grounded. He had his flaws, actually acknowledged them at times, and was more likable. And again, at face value, it doesn't seem like there's a big difference between those two, but once you watch the promos, you see Cena's character, there's a bit of a difference. 07 Cena lacked 2015's depth, and I'm not saying 2015 Cena was deep as hell or anything like that, but compared to him, there's just more about that version of John Cena. Charisma. John Cena's no doubt about it, one of the most charismatic wrestlers of all time. Of his generation, few compared to him in the long run. Cena didn't show much early on, but right when he became a rapper, he showed charm and charisma, and this continued developing as the years went by. 2007 Cena was electric, and what helps his case compared to the other years is that this was when he was watered down, yet his charisma didn't plummet. It just didn't. Every promo match, he had that energy to light up the arena, and Cena's charisma at times carried hard, and in some situations, few would make the material that good. You needed somebody like The Rock to have his charisma and charm elevate some of the bizarre things said in promos. And that's what John Cena was doing here in 2007. 2015 Cena was of course charismatic. You know, there's not really an iteration of Cena since 2003 that lacked charisma. He was older here and didn't have that fire week in and week out, but when he brought it, he was on another level. That said, his charisma was effortless. All he had to do was come out and he's going to show it. I think we could say Cena was probably the most charismatic in 2015 already, as there wasn't many in WWE that had more charisma. It wasn't as fiery as previously, but it was still one of the best. It's like Rock in 2001. He was still the most charismatic wrestler, but if you were to face 1999 Rock in that department, he'd lose. So for this one, 2007 Cena wins. For me, it's academic. This man would be talking goofy, but make it work. That's the talent he had here. Okay, promo. Promos are almost as important as wrestling skills in the industry. Of course, it depends where you're wrestling, but it doesn't hurt to have good talking skills and being able to convey a message. You can move people with the ability. John Cena's promo skills were apparent by his raps, but of course, as he moved on and grew as a performer, that area got better. One-on-one, John Cena, when pushed, has one of the sharpest tongues out there, and a lot of the current guys can't really match him because he started in an era that greatly prioritized mic skills. It forced him to work and improve himself to the point where his peers would consider him world-class. 2007 Cena is a strong example of somebody elevating their material. A lot of the stuff he was talking about was corny. You know, I'm not gonna lie, he's doing these backstage promos talking some nonsense about Donkey Kong or whatever reference he's throwing, but it worked because why? Because he was John Cena. WWE wanted that comedy element for him. When he cut a regular promo, of course he delivered. You know, his promos against Umaga, full of confidence and intensity, and this man will have you believing he could walk in and out of hell or something, especially when someone was pissing him off. He'd be wearing that military hat, all red, shouting to the heavens that he's gonna eradicate said individual. And Cena's raps had some nice shots and wordplay, but he couldn't really show all that much of this side, so he had to adapt. You know, he wasn't a rapper anymore, he had to talk one-on-one. And he could already talk one-on-one, it's just he got even better at this point. 2015 was more grounded. Yeah, he shouted sometimes for America and sometimes for the WWE Championship, but Cena at this point had that thing about him where he'd verbally tear down his opponent slowly and with much more venom than shouting would. He claims somebody like Kevin Owens is overrated, not up to par, and I think this version of him works because yes, he praises his opponents, but he had this toxicity about him, and this would become more apparent in 2016 and 17 in his feuds with AJ Styles and Roman Reigns. It's tough to really choose one because both sides had plenty of memorable promos, but because at times Cena's material was tough to excel with, I gotta go with 2007. His 2015 self didn't dabble in that comedy area much because literally every feud of his was serious, whether it was for the title or about America. 2007 Cena had intense feuds throughout the time, but he always threw in a comedy promo and tried to belittle somebody like Umaga, making jokes about them or the Great Khali, and even the most fury haters of Cena acknowledged that he had the promo ability. But from the Super Cena era, 2007 ranks amongst his best years as a promo. He's gotta take this one. I actually thought about it deep and always came around to the Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens programs, but Cena had more variety in 2007. That's what gives him the edge here. In-ring. John Cena's in-ring career has gone through a slow evolution to get where he was in 2017. His wrestling is most definitely now world-class, and one of the only moves Cena added to his repertoire was the leg drop. However, 2007, regardless of the lack of moves, was his strongest year up to this point. I always say, but the moment Cena wore those camouflage shorts, it's like they increased his wrestling stats. This man was on a mission, and in terms of consistency and catalog, nobody in WWE that year had one like John Cena. This man was capable of having a decent match with Great Khali and gave Umaga his very best match in WWE. Shawn Michaels on 3 occasions, these two stole the show and the feud came at the perfect time. This was where it was at. HBK was approaching his following years, still at his best where Cena was properly set into this wrestling thing. HBK, these are some of his very best matches. Are they top 10? Maybe one of them is, but they're a nice addition to his catalog as well. Their matches wouldn't have hit as hard if they happened in 2005. Then he capped off the run with what I would consider to be the best match between Cena and Orton, the one at SummerSlam. So if I had to describe what made Cena in-ring so good in 2007, is that compared to 2005, he was on point. The in-ring intelligence, yeah, he should have sold the leg at WrestleMania 23 more, but that doesn't take away from a tremendous year. The reason why I mentioned that, someone's going to be mentioning it in the comments. We won't want to do that. Cena came into his own because he could hang with others. That wasn't the case in 2005. His matches with Kurt Angle, if they happened in 2007, I guarantee we'd still be talking about them to this day like we do with his matches with Shawn Michaels. The most important component to Cena's success as an in-ring performer in 2007 is his ability to carry himself. As always, it takes two to dance, but you saw more from John Cena that year, and that's why it's considered by many to be his strongest year in ring. Fast forward 8 years later. At this point, John Cena had reigned atop the WWE for almost 10 years, and in that time, he didn't really evolve moveset-wise. What changed was his decision-making and ability to lead a match. There's a slight difference from 2007, John Cena in 2014, it's clear. For one, he never had a stronger year in ring, but talent-wise, he knew what to do and when to do it. What I mean is, he understood how to construct a match better because that comes with experience. Nobody really expected him to go hard as he did in 2015, and what helps Cena here is WWE's slight change of wrestling matches. The wrestlers started going harder in the ring and had these matches that brought a lot of emotions, almost like a main roster version of the NXT style, and this became apparent even more after WrestleMania 30. As a kid, I didn't really care much about the action itself. I'd of course watch, and I loved a bunch of matches, but 2015, this is where I would be glued to the screen because the action was quick and responsive, and John Cena greatly benefited from this change. It was about giving the wrestlers more freedom. Cena in particular opted to add a couple of moves to his arsenal, being the United States Champion and holding the Open Challenge. He had some moves such as the Springboard Stunner, Code Red, and he was using up a lot of more energy in his matches. You knew that this man was giving it his all, and it's more than a couple of moves added to his 5 moves of doom that make this year so good. Although that was a bit shocking in itself, you know, he added more moves to his moveset. We're used to this guy hitting shoulder tackles and 5-knuckle shuffles. Now he's doing this. A huge component of Cena moving towards being a work rate guy was the likes of Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. He was United States Champion and was trying to bring more prestige and honor to the championship, and what better way? Every week he'd go out there and have a good match for the title. Cena upped his game tremendously, never disappointed. You know, the only real disappointment was his match with Alberto Del Rio, which surprise-wise was disappointing as well because it was leaked and the match was 8 minutes. SummerSlam 2015 with Seth Rollins was his finest performance as well as Seth's that year, and Cena really evolved as an in-ring talent. So for this one, 2007 has an edge because of the strides Cena made in improving himself. Ever since the summer of 2006, he got better and better and just exploded in 2007. But as I said, this man was legitimately the best wrestler in the company. And of course, if HBK wrestled more often or the others had a more consistent year, they take it, but that doesn't change the fact that Cena to many was the undisputed number one. 2015's case is that he significantly changed. It was a slow process to get to 2015 because in previous years he slowly improved. Here, he brought the moves, was much faster in ring, so it's tough. I wouldn't do it with 2007, but in ring, he was better in 2015. Like, I just gotta go with it. The catalog of 07 is strong as hell. Hell, it's better than 2015. Probably the greatest fatal four-way match. Iconic matches with HBK is just 2015 was something we didn't entirely expect from John Cena. That's what it comes down to. Alright, so it comes down to the tiebreaker. My opinion, this looks at overall package, impact, everything all around. So if we add it up, 2015 John Cena was incredible. His year was very strong. A lot of it was, of course, regular John Cena stories, but at the same time, it felt a bit fresh. I do wish he had a bigger ending to the year rather than lose in a 10-minute match, but again, that doesn't take away from what was a standout year for the face that runs the place. That Seth Rollins match is actually my favorite WWE match from the 10s, but 2007 for John Cena cannot be understated. It was a watershed year for him where he climbed up a level. John Cena became champion in 2005. He was champion 06, but 2007 was the year he ensured that it will always remain on top. Why? Because of his performances inside and outside the ring. 2015 John Cena has the experience inside the ring, and at times he had a lot of fire on the mic, but overall, 2007 John Cena for me. He made a huge impact that year, and it's more important to his legacy than 2015, which was another notch of his belt. Without 2015, he'd still be praised as one of the most iconic wrestlers of his generation, but without 2007, I would think it would take away just a little. Not a lot. We're not going to over-exaggerate things because he was already the face of the company, and his 2006 was filled with a lot of memorable stuff. But straight up, 2007 John Cena was 97 overall, just like in SVR 2008. Almost everything about him was on point that year, and it's a shame he went away with an injury. This man peaked like 2012 Messi, 2013 LeBron. He was in his own world, and that's why I had to choose him. So yeah. Alright. That's it for this video. I enjoyed making this one. I think we improved from the last who's better, whatnot. I think it was much better. I do think a little bit's missing from it, so if you guys have a suggestion or some feedback about these types of videos, please comment down below. I enjoyed making this one. As I said, I thought it's the best Who's Better I made up to date. It's my favorite along with the Randy Orton one from a year ago, so yeah. Alright, what do you guys think was better? John Cena 2007 or John Cena 2015? That's it for this video. Make sure you hit the FU on the like button, press the FCFU on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.